Hello, everyone, and welcome to season 2 of the Tourism Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Vanessa Mbenoun, and we are going to talk about the current state of the industry and the future of the labor market post-COVID. Today, we are welcoming Chris King, the founder and CEO of Lightning Travel Recruitment in the UK. Hello, Chris. Welcome to the Tourism Entrepreneur Podcast.
Hello, Vanessa. Thank you so much for having me. It's my first ever podcast, so I'm so excited.
I'm delighted to have you, especially because we are in the middle of a global crisis where so many jobs have been lost and people are looking for new opportunities. And the first time we spoke, you told me something that stuck with me. You said, Vanessa, let's have a chat because I believe I do recruitment a little different than industry standard. So my question is, what is wrong with the way recruiting and tourism was done? And how is Lightning Travel recruitment different?
Gosh, I could talk for hours about this, Vanessa. So yeah, you're totally right. And I set this business up actually having never worked a day in recruitment in my life. I come from a sales background, working for a luxury travel company that put on events around the world. And I'd used recruiters myself, and I had so many frustrations because they didn't understand the nuances of the marketplace. They didn't understand the roles properly. And most of all, they didn't give me this service level that left me really glowing and wanting to come back and build that relationship. And in the travel industry, obviously, you'll know as well, relationships are so important. And that's kind of the premise on which I've set this business up. And what I would say is really wrong with current recruiters and recruitment in travel. And that is having empathy and giving love and support to candidates, even outside of when you have an active role. Especially in this marketplace right now, people are not hearing back from companies. They're getting automated emails. It's just knockback after knockback. And that's why I really set up this business, was to provide the industry someone to talk to, a face, if you will. And I won't swear, but I give it shit more than other people will in this market. And I guess the big problem right now is that recruiters in general have a bad reputation. And if you then take that bad reputation and look at that within the travel industry, you've got sometimes 5, 6, 7 recruiters all recruiting for this one role for a company. And the fault lies with the company for going out to so many recruitment agencies, and also the recruitment agencies for throwing across CVs of candidates, sometimes without their prior knowledge. It just becomes a bit of a minefield and a bit of a mess. So something I've done is I will only work with companies on an exclusive basis. It allows me to build a relationship with the business owners and not just take on a role for them. I will look at that role, question it, look at the future of the company, their plans, understand who's behind that company, who are the colleagues my candidate's going to be working with. And that to me is a relationship, it's a partnership. And that's what recruitment should be. You should be building those relationships with companies, providing a value added service, but also understanding the industry and really taking the time to understand the difficulties of the candidates in the marketplace.
I think it's a different approach. There's that human approach you're talking about. Sometimes it feels good just to get a reply or to know that you're talking to someone, not to some automated kind of bot at the end of the email that will let you know, okay, we received your application, thank you. So it's good to have that human approach, and I think it's one of the things that we're missing in the industry, definitely.
It could take me 2 weeks to reply to an email sometimes, but and I always say to candidates, look, I love you dearly, but I'm rubbish at emails. But it's a case of, just like you said, that one email back to them like gives people so much confidence. And something I do with the business is every Thursday I do something called Lightning Lounge. It's free to attend, and it's a video like this one. And I do everything from mini counseling sessions when I'm not qualified, but just listening to people, giving them CV advice and hearing their frustrations and really trying to give them that positive energy to carry on. And that I block my whole diary out on Thursdays and just make sure that one day a week I can give all of my time to candidates, because that is the most important thing in the market right now.
Wow, that's great, Chris. Although we don't have final figures yet, it was estimated last year that up to 174 million tourism jobs could be lost globally due to COVID-19. And we are already approaching the end of the first semester of 2021, and so many people have been actively looking for new opportunities. How has the pandemic affected the labor market, and what skills are now in demand in the tourism industry?
It's a great question, Vanessa, and I'm going to touch upon something you said actually, which is you'd not really used recruiters before to get jobs, and a lot of it was done through networking and offline. And that's kind of the case at the moment. Obviously it's devastating the amount of jobs that have been lost across the tourism, lifestyle, and hospitality industries, and it's building back slowly. There's two things happening right now that I'd like to highlight. I think one is it really depends on what part of the industry that you're actually in. The luxury side of the industry is coming back a lot quicker. But there's also been a massive shift I'm just talking about the UK market here, but there's been a shift in how people are buying holidays and buying hotel room nights. These big companies, the Scott Dunns, the Audleys, they don't have the pulling power that they used to have. People have lost their jobs from those companies and set up with agencies like Cartology and 360 Private Travel. They're solo person bands, and the clients are now booking through that person because they've maintained the relationship with them. So the whole UK market looks completely different to it did before COVID. Now with that means that the bigger agencies have had to try to be a bit more agile. So in terms of the recruitment, they're now, instead of looking for just a destination specialist, they're looking for a marketeer that knows the digital side of marketing, but also can learn worldwide destinations. There's a lot of desire for people that have a very versatile skill set. So right now, a lot of my candidates, for example, are doing project management courses or digital marketing courses to really bump up their CVs and become more versatile in their roles. But yeah, in short, there are roles popping up slowly. The market looks nothing like it normally would at this time. This would be a very busy time for recruitment. But the most hires that are happening through, like you said, Vanessa, offline networking, through talking to your connections, through having conversations like this, because people are recruiting, but those roles might not necessarily be online right now. And by having those conversations, it could be your friend's mother's sister's dog, whatever, that puts you in contact with a company owner. But the company owners are looking for talent right now, especially on LinkedIn. And if they don't have to go through a recruiter like me, they save money. And then they won't get hundreds of applications as well. So the best advice I can give for the market is talk. Continue to connect and talk to people.
Wow. And talking about that, they're basically cutting off the middleman that used to be, at the moment, that used to be the recruitment agency. They go directly to the people, to the profiles that are interesting to them. And I'm wondering now, how is the industry going to look in the next 5 to 10 years? We were talking, and when I think about middlemen, I'm thinking about that article I read a while ago that was talking about the end of tour operators and travel agencies. We are sitting now in a time where we don't really know what's coming up. What do you think? How is it going to look in the next 5 to 10 years?
I think it's actually, I don't want to say the situation is positive because obviously it's not. There's still a long way back for travel. I personally can't see anyone really traveling until the summer this year, unfortunately. Um, there's a few things going on right now. For example, in Africa, they're fully booked in lodges right now from 2 years ago almost. But a lot of lodges aren't now opening in summer, and then but they're not going to do business development. So where are these bookings going to be going? There's almost going to be a backlog in certain countries and destinations. You've then got places like Costa Rica that is thriving right now because it's one of the only places you can go to and is beautiful. But in terms of tourism in general and the makeup of the tourism industry, what I'm expecting to see is in the UK, an independent consultant market. We're going to be booking through humans and through those personal relationships. There's also what's amazing to see is there's so many new startups happening in the UK and the US, in South Africa. Um, I've seen startups focusing just on UK travel. Sustainability is going to be huge in the next few years. And by sustainability, not just booking an eco lodge in Patagonia, it's going to be actually looking at the supply chain and what was broken, in my opinion, before COVID, where there are so many people in this supply chain between this paying customer and the lodge, and some companies are no longer with us because they misjudged that supply chain. And I think travel is going to be it's going to be more of a commodity in the coming years. And travel as a force for good is going to be probably the most number one thing going. You've got people like Juliet Klinsmann, who talks about sustainable travel a lot. And as part of sustainable travel, I think people are really more than ever aware of the impact travel has on the world. So we'll be looking to give back when they are traveling. So, for example, booking trips that specifically will give back to the area they are going to. So if you're going to a lodge in Zambia, you know that money is going to help the local farmers that are giving the food to that. They are working on conservation projects there, and it's actually I do think travel is going to step forward leaps and bounds in the next few years, and it's going to be a really exciting time for our industry. But like you say, the industry is going to look so different. Those big tour operators are not going to have the lion's share of the market anymore. They're not. They're going to do bookings, of course, but the market has changed to personable, to having those human relationships. And also, I mean, technology as well. We have to talk about that. There's companies that are looking to build apps and integrate artificial intelligence with that human interaction. And that's really exciting, like really exciting. So if we've got technology, conservation, sustainability, and that human element in it, I really think travel is going to push forwards in the next few years. It's really exciting.
All of the trends that you've been talking about, they actually make sense. You can see things are going in that direction, but you can't predict exactly how it's going to look like. So I actually can't wait. Okay. And a question that I've asked myself, especially because I realized here in Africa, I don't know how exactly it is in the UK. A lot of people working in tourism actually branched out from other industries. They don't necessarily have formal tourism qualification, but they can still easily adapt. They can even build successful tourism businesses. So what is the importance of degrees or formal education in our industry? When you look at a CV and you see, I don't know, a master degree in tourism management, does it really matter at this point?
Yeah, I have a very very strong opinion on this, and it's not the status quo opinion at all. I'm a university dropout. I studied 2 years in event management and realized it wasn't for me, and I wanted to get into travel. It's actually quite funny because all of my friends were studying travel and tourism at the same university. Now, none of those people are working in travel and tourism, and I am running a travel recruitment company. um, and that's kind of twofold around the whole industry. Some of the best travel agents in the world started, well, they were lawyers and then decided that actually they've got a calling to travel the world. And I don't think a formal education is needed at all. I would say, being yourself, having a genuine passion for what you do and loving the world, and wanting to learn more. I think if you have those traits, you're made for the travel industry. It's an industry that, in my opinion, is one of the best in the world. We support each other. There is so much love. You have a friend in every city and every country after a couple of years, and I know people in the industry better than some of my best friends. um, and yeah, it's about being yourself, building those relationships with people. But do you need an education? You need to be educated, but you don't need a specific degree in travel and tourism to get into this industry at all.
And talking about that, Chris, I think more than before, people are aware of the fact that we have to be visible in order to attract more opportunities. You can't just sit and wait and expect, any kind of opportunity at this point to fall off, fall on your head. But I wanted to know, what tips can you give to tourism professionals who wish to grow their personal brand at this point?
We're excited to be leading that webinar, and I hope anyone listening will tune in. Yeah, in terms of the personal brand, like you said, I don't want to give too much away. But the real basics of it are, you can't have a brand unless you understand what your brand is. And you're not going to find that by Googling it. That's something that you have to know within yourself, and understand what it is you like, what companies you're trying to attract, and where you really want to go in your career. And there's no right or wrong, and this is why I get so excited about branding. Like, my brand is fun colors. I've got my pink shirt on right now. I like being myself. If someone else's brand is wearing all black, that's okay too, because that's their brand and they're not trying to attract the same people that I am. So yeah, one of my big tips I always give to people is, take an hour out of your day, get a piece of paper and a pen or pencil, and write down all the things you like about jobs you've done before, what it is about courses that you've liked before, what brands you like, what excites you, and write that down on a piece of paper. And once you've got that, that is almost the market that you are targeting for your brand. And you can then go and search existing brands in the marketplace. So you can look at Nike, for example, and go, okay, cool. So what language are they using? What stories are they sharing? What is their narrative? And you can start tailoring all the posts you do on socials, your Instagram. You can start tailoring that to a brand to then engage with brands that you want to work with, essentially. So that's one tip.
Say no more. They have to tune in. They have to come to the webinar if they need more. But that's already very exciting. And Chris, one of the main topic last year was diversity, and that was for season 1. But because you are actually one of the best people to talk to about it, I'm curious to know what's your opinion regarding inclusion and diversity in the tourism industry.
Yeah, I mean, I won't go into too much detail with this. Like you said, you've had season 1, and people are a lot more qualified to talk about it than me. But in terms of diversity in the travel industry, there's so much that still needs to be done. And that's whether it's from an ethnicity basis, with sexuality, gender. The travel industry has a long way to go. It really does, worldwide. There's still companies in London, I could name 5 just sitting here, where, and outside London as well, where the whole company is middle-class white women. And that does not represent the travel industry. It doesn't. And it's what's for me frustrating is there is so much amazing talent out there from different backgrounds, and we as an industry cannot promote diversity and all these amazing countries, and then inside the four walls that we have our companies not have diversity at all. So something I've started doing with my clients is I offer them actually a service that takes out their unconscious bias when they're hiring. I don't know personally anyone else that does this. So what I do is I will take off the name, any pictures, gender pronouns, or anything that can give an idea of who this person is away from their experience, and send the CV over to clients. So clients will make initial yes or no's based on just a person's experience. So they can truly say that they are operating a diverse hiring process, because it's not down to looks at all until they have got through that door. And I wish there was more initiatives, even internally with HR in travel, where they looked at their business and were like, do you know what? We need to be more diverse. We need to. I don't want a board of plus 60 white men. I don't want that. We want to have different cultures, different whatever. You just want to have this sexy melting pot of amazingness in offices. And I really have had some amazing discussions with some CEOs recently who are focusing, and you'll be pleased to hear this, on making their companies more diverse when they start hiring in March, which is so fantastic to hear.
That's amazing. So they're actually making it a priority, basically.
Absolutely. I've got one client at the moment that had just the most amazing conversation with who they're a sustainable company, and they just looked at their top down in their business and went, what we're promoting outside doesn't match what's on the inside, and we have a problem here. So they now make sure to include someone from a D&I perspective in all of their interviews. They actively will seek out people that fit their brand, and really have tried to remove the unconscious bias when they're recruiting, which is, it's so fantastic to hear.
It's amazing. Wow. Guys, this is Chris King. He's the founder of an agency that does recruitment differently. I think now we understand why. And to know that Chris will be leading our personal branding and tourism webinar. It's on the 17th of March. So you visit tourismentrepreneur.com/event to sign up. And in the meantime, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. See you next week.